Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you how to score perfect in your personal introduction. First things first, when you walk on stage, there's going to be 3 X's before the main X. So right when you walk on stage, here's the curtains and then here's the middle. There's an X right when you walk up and then there's 1, 2.
Change the world in the psychology field.
Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk up and it's gonna be like a round robin sort of thing. So the girl in front of you is on the X in front of you and then you keep rotating like that. So when it's your time to go, you walk up to the first X and you stand in pretty feet. By pretty feet, I mean standing with 1 foot out and then on the arch of your foot, you put the other where it's standing like this. Almost in a L position, but not quite. Make sure that your presence is the biggest thing, so you need to walk on stage with the confidence that you want to give the judges when you're speaking as well. So make sure you walk on stage with that confidence and just leave your hands either one resting on your hip. I personally like to have my hands down by my side and give those judges a big smile so that they know that you're ready to take home the crown. You can also look over at the girl that's speaking and give her a little recognition. I always clap for the girls. Some girls don't. It depends on if you have a pageant coach and what they tell you. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your score, I promise. But I always like to watch the girls speaking and then also give the judges each a glance. And I kind of rotate in between that, but not too fast. You have the queen that's holding the microphone and then you're on this X. Once that girl leaves that's speaking, you're gonna walk across the stage to the X with the queen that's holding the microphone. Take the microphone in your dominant hand. I am right-handed, so I always reach over and grab it, but I've seen some girls do this as well. Also, again, it doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable with. When I grab the mic from the queen, I always take 1 step forward just so everybody knows that like the spotlight is on you. Don't take a massive step, don't step to the side, don't block the queen. It's her moment too. Just take a small little step to be, I'm ready to speak. It also gives me a little bit of time to have a bit of breathing room as well. Before I even begin speaking, I take a breath. Obviously don't vocalize it, don't be like, but because it's gonna come across that you're nervous. But I always just take a breath and speak. This way you don't run out of breath while you're speaking and it keeps your pace very, very particular. That way you don't speed up or slow down as well. A lot of the times when people mess up in personal introductions is either because A, they didn't practice enough, or B, because they run out of breath and they start speaking really fast. This happens to everyone, almost everyone, when you're nervous, is you tend to speak way faster than what you would normally speak or how you practice to speak. So always practice way slower than how you're gonna actually say it on stage. But again, do not sound robotic when you're speaking either. So clearly there's a difference between, hi, my name is Brenna Laubach. I'm from Morgan City. Right? To, hi, my name is Brenna Laubach. Like, you need to have a little bit of voice inflection in your voice so you don't sound robotic or AI. When practicing, put yourself in the judge's position and try it a few different ways. Always think about, would I want to sit through 53 of these girls sounding like this versus this? What's going to catch your eye? What's going to grab the judge's attention? What's going to come across more confident also? Another big thing that people don't talk about enough is the way you pronunciate your words. Personal introduction is not about what you say, surprisingly. It's about how you say it. So my first year in 2015, I had a very, very, very squeaky country accent going on. I am Brenna. And it's just the way I talked. I didn't go through puberty yet and my voice was like Minnie Mouse. Obviously, the judges aren't going to judge you on your actual voice. What they are going to judge you on is how you actually pronunciate the words. So for example, my personal introduction when I was little was lights, camera, action. Next time you see me, I'll be on your big screen. And the way I said it was this: lights, camera, action. The next time you see me, I'll be on your big screen. Okay, but now let's take a step back and use some voice inflection in your words. Lights, camera, action. Next time you see me, I'll be on your big screen achieving my dream as an actor. Now, I tried to use that country accent. It sounds a little silly, but that's how I sounded when I was little. But you see the difference. There's a little bit of more excitement, and you are actually speaking to the judges in front of you versus just saying stuff out loud. When writing your personal introduction, always think about the things you want the judges to know, but don't write your whole life story. You can talk about your entire life story to the judges in interview. This is just an introduction for a reason. I always talk about things that are the most important to me and pick like a top 3 or top 4, or top 5 even, but keep it specific, because you're going to get way more into detail in these interviews, and you don't want to give the judges everything about your life, because what are you going to talk about in an interview? Usually, most times, personal introduction is before interview also. And obviously, whenever you're writing it, hit on the 3 main NAM points that you have to have in your introduction. It's your name, hometown, and ambition, or like what you want to be when you grow up, something interesting about you. So make sure you definitely have those 3. I always personally end with my name, because you say all your little spill and end with your name, and they're like, oh, that's who that is. And they can reference this specific story to this specific person, versus saying, hi, I'm Brenna Laubach and da 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 da, because then they're like, I forgot her name. You know what I mean? Now, here's a big one that might throw you for a loop, because promise, I used to do it too. Don't say thank you at the end of your introduction. It's okay if you're a princess or a junior preteen or maybe even preteen, but if you wrote a good introduction, you are going to have a closing sentence and you're going to have an ending to that. It is definitely polite to thank the judges and just appreciate your time being there, but you can also do that in an interview as well. It also takes up some of your time when you're speaking on stage, and people, a lot of the times contestants think that thanking the judges on stage, or like say they got crowned and they're like, thank you so much, it's fine, but it doesn't boost your score in any way. Like, it's not like you're like sucking up to these judges. Like, it's not going to affect your score. Having a good introduction means having a good opening, having your main points in the middle, and having a good closing. By this I mean, don't open up with, hi, when I grow up, blah 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 blah. Put your when I grow up in the middle. So start off with a fun fact, start off with a quote, start off with, I've seen girls speak a different language. Things like that that relate back to what you're about to say. For example, my personal introduction when I was a preteen was lights, camera, action, because I knew I wanted to be an actress. This is a very overly used statement, by the way. Please do not use that quote. You can find plenty of other ones if you want to be an actress, I promise.
When the curtain rises, it's anyone's guess where I'll be. Did I direct the show, or am I starring in it?
Now, two very different things that mean the exact same thing, because I still want to grow up and do performing arts. Make it something very personal to you. I love talking about closing statements, because closing statements are supposed to be a like boom, drop the mic moment. So versus just being like, thank you, walk, walk, walk. Say a good roundup to your sentence. You can say finally like where you're from, or you're happy to represent somewheres, or or saying like proudly representing whoever or whatever you're representing. That's the best way to close it, I find. Or even talking about your platform if you have one for the ending, but don't make the entire, oh my gosh, this is another pet peeve of mine, when someone makes their entire personal introduction about their platform. Like, we all know all of our platforms are very important to us, but that's something that you can just mention in your personal introduction, because that's not your entire life. Like, you know, like I suffer with anxiety, depression, and I wouldn't want to make my entire personal introduction about how I suffer with these things, because it's gonna come across, I don't want to word this wrong, but it's gonna come across like a sob story, And that's not who defines you. You are so much more than your mental health, if you have a mental illness, or if you have a disease, or if you're so much more than that. Of course, mention it because it's part of you. But talk about the exciting things in your life. Talk about your name, how old you are, what you're doing in college, if you're a volunteer, if you have 4 cats, like anything else, because you can get into deeper subjects with that one-on-one interview. And that also makes a better personal connection with the judge when you're sitting face to face versus when you're on a stage. Now talking about wardrobe, it's always good to wear a good nude or skin colored pair of shoes. Those always I find work best because you don't want your shoes to distract from what the judges are looking at. They're supposed to be listening to you talking, not looking at your entire outfit. But with that being said, they will look at your outfit, so make sure it fits you correctly. It is business appropriate, meaning I never do strapless for interviews, personal preference, but business appropriate. I do like knee-length dresses or just a tiny bit above the knee, or a pantsuit, or they have this like scuba material dresses that are really good for interviews. And also, speaking of not being distracting, you also don't want to wear distracting jewelry either. I wear a simple, I would never wear like something super dangly like this. I would wear like a stud or a pearl or something just very classy. No dangly bracelets, that's very loud and very distracting. Rings are okay, I think. I never wear one, personal preference again, but as long as you're not fidgeting while you're talking, because that's also very distracted and it also comes across that you're nervous as well. Hairstyles really can be anything. I wouldn't like tie ribbons in your hair, but if you wanted to do a pretty ponytail, or if you wanted to leave your hair down, it's totally okay. Just if you're like me, who has like these little like curtain bangs going on, make sure they're not like this while you're talking. It's just very distracting, and you want to look your best in front of the audience and also the judges and also the queen next to you that's holding the microphone. What everyone is looking for is a girl that's going to be able to speak to people that come up and ask her questions if she has the crown on her head the next day. If you're comfortable being in front of camera, if you can speak on stage in front of thousands of people, that's what they're looking for in the personal introduction. That's why it's very important to practice, because it comes across very scary, because I know stage fright is one of the #1 fears across the world. But personal introduction slowly became my favorite phase of competition, because you get to just express yourself in front of a lot of people and show how cool you are. One of the best ways to practice personal introduction is standing in front of a mirror. I always take like a remote or a hairbrush, and I'll stand in front of the mirror and practice holding the microphone and talking. One of my favorite things to do is also scan the judges. This is really important because you'll make eye contact with each judge individually. Even if they're looking down writing something on the score sheet, still look at them. And if they're taking a little bit longer than usual, move on to the next judge and you can come back. So scanning is very important. I talked about this in my formal wear video as well, but scanning each judge and making sure you get that personal reference with each and every one of them. Sarah Milliken, my Alabama Miss, who I'm besties with, she also made a good point to memorize something about each judge while you're speaking. It will also help you get the words out faster, and you're not like thinking about what you're gonna say next. Because honestly, when I'm on stage for personal introduction, I kind of black out, if that makes sense. I don't really know, not that I don't know what I'm saying, but like I don't remember saying it because it just comes so naturally. You should be able to say it frontwards, backwards in your sleep. And the last and definitely not least tip that I have for personal introduction is practice the microphone not being up here, not being too low. You're not gonna sound like this, but at a perfect level, because you don't want to block your mouth because it looks like you're eating the microphone, and you don't want to put it down here because nobody's gonna hear you. So have it at a perfect pace or perfect height, and also like the way you hold it, because this looks like you're singing, this looks like you're going on a jolly little run, but having just a relaxed, natural presence. I've said natural like 30,000 times in this video, but that's really what they're looking for, is a girl that's herself. and a girl that's be able to do all of this as a state queen as well. And that's all I have for you guys for today. I hope you have a great one. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for the next video.